Welcome to another episode of What the Falafel. I'm your host, Jodie Bramman, and we are so excited to have a very special guest today, Chen Mazig. He is an author, speaker, influencer, and activist who's joining us today. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. We thought we'd catch you while you were here for Pride.
For Pride, yeah. Well, I'm back and forth between London and Tel Aviv, but yeah, I'm so happy to be with you.
It's exciting. How was Pride? Because there was a whole big thing with Jewish Pride and Israeli Pride didn't happen, and
I mean, there was always this feeling in the LGBTQ community that, you know, if you're fighting for against injustice and you're fighting for acceptance for the LGBTQ community, you have to also fight for other minorities. And that, I mean, I do agree with the general concept. We need to fight for every minority because we are a minority. But it seemed like there was always this undertone of like, Jews are not a minority. Jews do not deserve to be treated as a marginalized group. And I think it really exploded last year when Pride did not include, or rather the Jewish organizations in the UK, the queer Jewish organizations decided that they can't join Pride in London, and they said that they just don't feel safe for their participants. You know, if I was Pride London, an organization that is well-funded and have a lot of people working there, that their expertise is actually LGBTQ rights and minority rights. If I heard from a minority community saying we don't feel safe to join your Pride parade or your event, I mean, they failed. They're supposed to make it an inclusive and safe space. So if an entire group of people, several organizations, the leading organizations don't want to be a part of it, it's a big warning sign. And they had an entire year to try and fix it, and they didn't. So this year, again, the Jewish queer organizations in the UK decided to basically not to participate in Pride. And many LGBTQ Jews in the UK felt really disheartened. They felt like they can't join the Pride parade. And a few amazing individuals, including Yochi from Stop the Hate, and you had people from Miznon, which is the Israeli restaurant, and there's a new organization called Hineni that is trying to make LGBTQ Jews feel like they're not alone. They came together to create this event for LGBTQ Jews in London and allies, and to create a space where it would be safe for us to be. And you know, it was an amazing event. It was sad to see so many police officers around us and there were a lot of, a few people that came and trying to agitate or start something and come in with kafiyas and Palestinian flags. We ignored them. Actually, we kept inviting them to join the party. They didn't want it to. But yeah, it was really sad that we had to do it, but I was really moved and I felt really empowered by the fact that brave people showed up and said that they're not willing to disappear because some people hate us.
It's crazy that this is what it's come to.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because I didn't realise, in my own naive little way, that we were such a minority. I remember when the whole war started, there was this pie chart that came out and we were just so small, and I didn't realise. But you had a good time. How many people did you get coming to the event?
I didn't have numbers because it was like in the street, and there were hundreds of people coming in and out. I think in the 1,000 probably participated. Great. Yeah, it was amazing.
Good. We need this. But Israeli Pride, do you call it Israeli Pride or like Tel Aviv Pride?
There's small Pride, so yeah, there's Tel Aviv Pride is the largest one in Israel.
But it didn't happen this year, sadly.
I didn't know. I actually went to Israel for it. And I was supposed to leave the following day after Pride, but then the war started and I had to stay in Israel I was in Israel for the entirety of the war.
God, how was that?
It was the scariest time I had in Israel, I would say. Like, I don't think I was ever really afraid for my life as much as I was during this time in Tel Aviv. And you know, I served in the West Bank, in Gaza. I've served with, my work was to be in those areas in the IDF, so I was threatened and I was in war zones. But I think this time something was really different, and it was this sense that we are safe in those bomb shelters, but then every day that was shattered by another missile that hit directly a bomb shelter and killing entire families. So, and it wasn't it wasn't just rockets. Like I'm used to rockets from Gaza that are, there's an explosion and you hear it, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but that's been very Israeli about it. But Israelis are becoming used to it. But this was ballistic missiles that go outside of the atmosphere and they're coming down, and they're really, and when they strike, the explosion is so strong that we kept feeling like it's beneath us, you know, that we just, and everything was shaking, the windows were shaking. It was terrifying. And I was with my partner, Mark, and I think he was also in Israel through wars, but he also was really worried. I mean, he's not Jewish. He grew up in London, never experienced it. So I think I also had this element of being worried about my partner's safety. So yeah, it was really scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. We had Zach Margolin, who was also, he went out, I can't remember what maybe for his birthday, he was out there and got stuck. And he said, usually you're with Israelis, and they were all like, it's okay. And he said, when you're in the shelter with an Israeli and she's scared, then you know it's big.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you were saying how you worked in Gaza and you're in the IDF. You were a humanitarian officer.
Yeah.
What was that? What did you do?
So when you join the army, you usually get to choose which units you want to serve in. And I saw this unit that is called COGAT, the Coordinator of Government Activities in the Territories. And I learned about them, and I saw that they're working with Palestinian civilians and the UN and international organizations, and their job was to promote aid and supporting Palestinian civilians, because they think, I mean, the thought was if there's someone has a good life and you know, a good job and their kids are going to school and everything is great, there are less chances to go and risk it all with violence, right? You want to keep it safe, so there's like a heavier price to pay if you have all of it. So that was the goal of this unit, and it was actually, I think, my third choice out of the other two. I also wanted to be a medic and others, but I got this one, and I think it's because I speak both Arabic and English, and because my family, I spoke to my Iraqi grandmother, only in Arabic, and that was something that I grew up with, this Arabic culture and the language. So that's how I got into this unit, and I served the military service in the IDF is 3 years. I ended up serving 5 years because I became an officer. I went through officer training school, and my work was to be a humanitarian officer that is overseeing all the international aid that was distributed in the West Bank and in Gaza when I was stationed separately, overseeing humanitarian projects like building roads, building hospitals, but also day-to-day issues, like if a Palestinian grandma can't reach her home because there's a block that the IDF put for security reasons, but she can't access it, so I would coordinate that the IDF would remove it to make sure that she would be able to get in there. When there was the Red Cross is arranging family visits for families of terrorists that are held in Israeli prisons, because according to the Second Geneva Convention, if an army is capturing terrorists or combatants and placing them inside the borders of the country, you are there's a mandatory requirement to allow families to visit their their loved ones. So we had to facilitate that, and I had to oversee getting permits for the families, making sure that the buses are taking them on time, that they're getting to do it once a week.
If they're taken into Israeli prisons, you mean? Okay.
Yeah, and because there are some prisons that are inside the West Bank, which then you don't have to coordinate it, and they can just go and see them. But there's a few security prisons inside Israel. Israel is, making a long story short, Israel is taking care of international law and upholding it, and also taking care of civilians that are caught between. There are many Palestinians that are not Hamas, that are not supporting this terrorism. We don't hear about them and we don't see them, but they do exist. The goal is to help those civilians, and I felt so much meaning doing this work, and I felt like it's really gave me something so strong to take with me, because at the end of the day, both Israelis and Palestinians are not going anywhere. All of those Trump's ideas on how to relocate millions of Palestinians. It's not going to happen. We need to be serious about it. And since they're going to be there and we're going to be there, we have to figure out a way that both of those people will be able to live. Now, I hear so many suggestions on 2 states, 3 states, 1 state. To me, I don't think there's a viable way to live in 1 state where Israelis and Palestinians are living together, and they have equal rights. Like it has, because if they have equal rights, then it means that Palestinians, refugees, which are 7 million at this point all over the world, will have to be able to receive right of return like Israelis get and Jews get. And that would change completely the demographic of Israel and what would not keep it as a democratic country, democratic and Jewish country. The other alternative is that Palestinians will not have the same rights if it's one Israel. And then it means that it will turn into not a democracy, which I don't want either. So for me, I mean, the only viable solution is really 2 states and being able to have Israel that is Jewish and democratic and safe with Arabs living there and protecting its borders, and then a Palestinian state that, I mean, I think we all can see after October 7th can't be militarized. But yeah, sorry, am I going too deep into the conflict resolutions?
No, I'm like, good, you've got a solution. This is great. Sort the world out.
I mean, it's a solution that so many people were talking about, so many leaders over the years. And I know a lot of Israelis are feeling disillusioned by it and they think that it's not viable. But to me, there's really no other way to solve it other than giving national rights to Palestinians. I'm a Zionist. Everything I do is for the Jewish people and for our rights to live in our ancient homeland as a free people with rights. And I know that it has to be not only because it's political belief that I have, it's also because my family didn't have it. And I know what happened in Iraq and in Tunisia when Jews were stateless and powerless and with no rights. And I don't want it to happen to Jews anywhere ever. I think Israel has to exist and it has to be strong and it has to be protected. And my entire family is there as well. So that's the other part of it. So, and with all of this, I also think that we can't, on the one hand, tell the world that we must have the right for self-determination and national rights, but the Palestinians don't have that. That, to me, it doesn't make sense. And the other caveat is that, I don't think for a second that anyone has stronger ties to the land of Israel than Jews. And that's speaking historically, archaeologically. There's proof that Jews have been in Hebron long before the Arab colonialism of the entire Middle East. We are the indigenous people of this land, indigenous based on our language, ancient language, history, genealogy, all of it. And from this point of view, this is why I think we should be able to say this is our land and we're going to keep Jerusalem and we're going to have it as our country, and we will allow Palestinians and Israelis to cross the border. Hopefully, I know it won't be safe on the other side, but I do think that there's no way to continue controlling with military force millions of people in a way that will also not harm us and our values and the soul of Israel, which I see is so bruised after October 7th. And that's exactly what Hamas wanted. Hamas wanted to either destroy Israel by military force, which they couldn't, or destroy who we are and our values and turn us into them, which I don't think we'll ever turn into them. But I think we're very bruised and traumatized after October 7th.
Yeah, I saw something this morning. I don't even know whether it was... I feel like I get all my source of information from your page, but I saw something that was saying that about 60% of Israelis are suffering. 60% of the people suffering were men, but there was a huge proportion of people having PTSD-like symptoms, anxiety, medication has gone up because there's like the aftermath now of everything.
Yeah, fully. And there's a lot of elements to it that they don't fully understand. I mean, I was speaking to a psychologist that was treating Nova survivors and said, we don't have any precedent to people suffering what they've suffered, being on drugs, many of them in this party, and having the PTSD after an experience like being, hallucinating while facing a terror attack.
Wow.
There's a lot of pain and trauma and a lot of it that is not even, the world hasn't seen before. Israelis are dealing with all of it.
Yeah. I went to a talk by Johnny Daniels and he was saying that the Israeli medical team are so unbelievable. They hire actors to just try and go through like every scenario to try and mimic what these people have gone through to then try and provide the solution. But I just, the whole thing, I don't know how you conquer that on such a huge scale.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it, but you know, Israelis are miracle workers. They keep doing things that the world doesn't expect them to be able to do. So
I love it. And I love the situation, but I love Israel. I just think I think the resilience, I love just how they're just so determined to find solutions for things. And it's just the attitude. It's just so different from anywhere else, in my opinion.
It's so different. It's so different. And, you know, after my military service, I moved to America. I lived in New York and then in Seattle for a few years. And I remember feeling, I don't know if this joy or like feeling like that I don't need to fight. Like in Israel, I felt like I had to fight every day. Like there's this feeling of like you have to keep going and be the best and work hard and do everything because there's, I don't know, maybe this cloud of existential threat over your head that makes you feel like you have to keep going and you have to live life to the fullest and do everything you can to. For me, it was success was always important, so I guess that's why it felt like I have to chase it. And when I moved to New York and Seattle and I lived there in America, it was just so easy. Like you could have just live your life and, you know, go to Starbucks and enjoy a frappuccino and not worry about anything.
But is that a good thing then? Because if it almost sounds like you were able to breathe a little bit when you moved out.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's probably the experience was different. You know, I grew up in a Mizrahi household. Like my family is Iraqi and Tunisian. Education wasn't as it wasn't permanent in my family. I studied because I wanted to and it was important for me, and I later on got my BA in Middle Eastern Studies and I'm getting a master's, and to me it was just something that I enjoyed doing. But I think that my path in life wasn't one that was led to the type of success that I wanted to have. And also being in the closet as a gay man and growing up in this Mizrahi family that is very traditional and has a Middle Eastern background, that I felt like I had to also hide my identity. I grew up in Petah Tikva, in this neighborhood that wasn't really successful and beautiful. You know, it was a mixture of Ethiopians and Russians and Middle Eastern Jews, North African Jews. So I guess for me it was a way to escape from a lot of it, and I guess that's why I was able to also, like, that's why this breath felt so much better, I guess, because I was able to be who I was and discover myself. I came out of the closet when I was in the army, but being able to live my full life in America was great. And I think the reason I went back to Israel after 3 years is that I was able to leave every part of who I am and my identity other than being Israeli and Jewish. Like that was always an issue for everyone.
What, it being in America, you mean?
Not everyone, but yeah, for people around me. I was very much in the progressive spaces, and my partner back then was also like very much progressive and left, and it was always like an issue. I always had to start with a caveat of like, oh yeah, I'm Israeli, but I disagree with a lot of what Israel is doing. I was back in 2012, 13, 14, like it wasn't as bad as it is now, but I guess it's because Seattle was much more liberal and progressive city. So yeah, I guess that's what made me go back home, because I felt like, okay, you can leave all of your identities other than one, and that's the core part of who I am. Yes, I'm many intersection of many things, but my Jewish identity is the first one.
I feel like I've definitely come back to that with everything that's gone on. It was always like, well, I'm English and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm just Jewish. And like, I'll sort of push it down. Yeah. But it's almost like I've been forced to face my identity, and now I'll put Judaism above like every other identity. It's almost why I started this podcast, because I'm embracing it. It's like, we have to talk about being Jewish.
Yeah.
But it does feel like if you don't address that, there's just something that's just doesn't completely fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think so many Jews feel this way today. Like this feeling of, you know, we could have assimilated, or we felt like we could assimilate it. We felt like we were accepted. I remember speaking to a friend of mine that I won't mention who he is, but he's like an actor, known and young, and he said like my family always told me that we have to stick together and Jews have to take care of each other, and never understood why. He said all of my friends are not Jewish, married a non-Jew, um, and he said now I understand why, because this anti-Semitism that a lot of non-Jews have deep inside them um, is not going to go away, unfortunately.
I just find this wild. Like, I had no idea. I thought the Holocaust was the Holocaust. That was a big period of anti-Semitism. Something happened that must have been so different in the world then. And it was always history. It was always then. It was a story. And when everything kicked off in Israel in October, I just remember lying in bed, just almost like not reimagining because I wasn't there, but imagining the Holocaust and the gas chambers. And suddenly I just thought they could come for us now. And my entire world changed because I did not realize that this was still very much present in everyday life.
Yeah, and they're just becoming more and more sophisticated, and the hatred is coming in different colors and in different races and different backgrounds, but it's the same old hatred. I remember reading something about a politician in the UK. I can't even remember who it was, someone from Labour, some MP years ago, that suggested a bill to say that if you are eligible for an Israeli citizenship, then you need to be revoked of the British citizenship. And I thought, how brilliantly evil this is, because it's basically saying Jews without saying Jews, right? Like, it's to say every Jew should be have their British. It didn't go anywhere. But I read it and I thought, like, the cruelty and the evil and the sinister nature of anti-Semitism is always going to adapt to whatever. So today, they adapted and they're blaming Netanyahu for it. Not a fan of Netanyahu. I think I made it very clear in my posts on social media. And yet, I don't blame Netanyahu for anti-Semitism. It could have been. It was COVID-19. We were blamed for it. 9/11.
Were we?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
You're not around the forums I am online, probably.
Okay. What did we do?
We spread it. We helped spreading it. And
great.
And immigration in America, we're blamed for it. We are committing what they called a white genocide because we don't want the white race to control it anymore. And we're also responsible for deporting minorities from America, like the Palestinian protester in Colombia that was arrested, and we were blamed for that as well. So we're bringing people in, we're removing people from America, we're always doing everything, and everything evil is us.
Great. I mean, it's nice to give us credit, but oh my God, how? I know I also heard there was 9/11 that we were responsible for, and controlling the media. And
yes, there's this trope of like, they're saying that there's video of Jews dancing in Israel after 9/11, which of course is fabricated and not true. And that for some reason they said all of the Jews in the Twin Towers were out that day.
Yes, I read that.
They weren't. There's Jews that lost their loved ones in this
It is utterly bizarre watching the narrative unfold, and I know nearly every Jewish person I speak to just can't understand why their friends haven't spoken out. They'll speak out for everything else and everyone else, but the silence has been deafening from friends. But this is also what kind of brings us together as Jews, because we go, well, no one else understands us. We've just got to stick together. And I guess that's why we've become such a strong tribe, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the anti-fragility theory. Is like when you press a matter so hard, it becomes stronger, and it's like the molecules like become more attached to one another. And I think that's what's happening to the Jewish community.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good,
Like we're becoming stronger, and it's like, and I think we're also becoming stronger. Sorry, another analogy, but we're also becoming stronger in where we were hurt the most. And it's where, when you break a bone in your body and the bone heals, they say that this is becoming the strongest part of the bone, that part that was injured. And I think that's the other thing that I'm seeing from the Jewish community. We've experienced so much pain, but it wasn't pain of death. It was the pain of something that is healing now, and I think that's what we're experiencing now, the process of coming out of it, and we're going to come out of it stronger and more united. And I know so many Jews in so many industries now that have. One person told me I have this massive company in America. I never thought about hiring Jews. I was, a Jew in the closet. It wasn't important for me. And now they're trying to focus more on including more Jews in their company, or Jews that are working with other Jewish creatives and artists, and Jewish artists that feel like their work is not being sold as much because of the war. They're finding Jewish philanthropists and people that want to buy art that are going to invest in it. We have to stick up to one another. And I was working on an op-ed for a big publication in America, and one of the edits that I got was about Jews being marginalized, and the editor said, well, I don't know if that's true that Jews are a marginalized group. Maybe they're not. I'm thinking, yeah, how can you be an editor in this mainstream media publication and say something like this? But I think they just can't see it. So that's why we feel like it's up to us. I mean, that's Zionism, right? They can't see it. No, they don't care. We have to take care of each other.
Well, we just don't. I think I've said this on nearly every episode, but we just don't play the victim. So that's why we're not going, oh, we're really suffering, like help. So everyone goes, oh, you're fine, you're strong. But it's almost like being strong and being resilient is a disadvantage in this modern world. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, these days it is, right? It's like we don't want to be seen as victims, and we often try to like play down anti-Semitism to ourselves. Maybe it's also a coping mechanism, and also we did have it worse. I mean, I think we are living in it's hard to say it, but historically speaking, we are the safest any Jewish community has been since the Second Temple, I guess. We never had a state. We never had an army that could fly over to Iran and take down our existential threat. So I guess like it's also, we have this feeling of empowerment, but it doesn't mean that we're not being shot or burned to death in major cities in America. It's around the world, and that our synagogues are being firebombed. And you know that if it happened to mosques, there would be outrage, and our friends would be the ones calling it out. But they're not doing it now because there's no social currency in calling out anti-Semitism. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And that's why the few friends that my partner and I have left here in London are the best friends we ever had. He lost probably 95% of his friends after October 7th. He didn't say anything, didn't post anything, just because of me. All they did, like, they kept tagging him in every video of children dying in Gaza, and they said, "This is what your partner does." I tried to go to reserve to do the humanitarian work, and my unit wouldn't even recruit me. So I don't know how I'm responsible for. I know how. It's because I refuse to say that Israelis deserve it, and refuse to say that Jews brought it on themselves.
Yeah.
And that's enough for them. But the rubbish took itself out, as we say.
I like that. But you said, let's talk about him and your whole LGBTQ side of things, because you've kind of just like, you're in a minority, but you're proud of it. And that's great. But you came out in the IDF. What was that like? Tell me about this whole thing, and being Jewish and being gay. How was that?
Yeah, I always felt like I was a minority, even being a Mizrahi Jew in Israel. Although we are the majority of Jews in Israel are of recent descent from the Middle East and North Africa. So coming from Iraq, Tunisia, Morocco, Libya, Syria. But I lived in Israel, and Israel is very much like looking up to Western societies and Western ideals, and Europe. And there's this feeling of, at least when I grew up, I think it's different now, but feeling like that European is better than us, like almost like looking down at ourselves. And I always felt like I need to hide my identity as the Mizrahi kid. I used to lie to my teacher to say that my mom is from Denmark. And then one day my mom came to school, and for a meeting, and she came back to me and said, "Chen, I'm not from Denmark, I'm from Iraq." I said, yeah, I was trying to get her to like me more.
Why? Yeah, because sorry to sort of interrupt my question and your answer, but what is this with the, we know a lot about Sephardis and Ashkenazis, but I didn't know there was so much bad vibes for you and growing up around the Mizrahi side of things.
Yeah, I think it's more permanent in Israel because in Israel it's, because most people are Jews, and around you everyone is Jews, so it's like any human being, there's always like this social hierarchy that you're looking for, and you want to understand where to place yourself. And I think because it really connects to this fetishizing, or like maybe not fetishizing, like looking up to Europe and thinking that Europe knows how, like this is what we want to be like, and the pop music and the culture and all of it comes from Europe and the West. So there was I grew up with this feeling of that I'm inferior from my background, and it's not just my feeling. I mean, if you look at the statistics, there was never a president of the Israeli Supreme Court that was Mizrahi. There was never a Mizrahi prime minister. There was never a Mizrahi head of Mossad and Shin Bet. There was a couple of Mizrahi chief of staffs, but in places of power, I think there was, even in academia, there was a study from 2015, I think, that showed that only 5% of the academic faculty was Mizrahi. The majority were Ashkenazim. And given that Mizrahim are over 55% of Jews in Israel, and Ashkenazim are actually about 30%. So it shows you that there's still this power imbalance. Now, can connect it to a lot of things. I don't think it's just racism. I think there's other reasons and backgrounds, and Mizrahi immigration came later on. First, the Ashkenazim that came after the Holocaust were the first ones to come to Israel, one of the first groups. There's other reasons, and today I do see a lot of my friends mixed marriage between Mizrahim and Ashkenazim. But all of this doesn't negate the feeling that I had growing up, that I felt like something about, I mean, I guess it's also because we spoke Arabic and our culture was Middle Eastern culture, and it was very like, Middle Eastern culture is very loud, and it's very like in your face, and not keeping European etiquette and politeness. So I guess all of this was also part of why I felt like this, and Israel was in a war with Arab countries around us, so to have an identity that is related to those people that supposedly your enemies on the other side, also felt like it's, am I here or there? Am I, so that was a big part of like the intersection that I grew up with. But then I also had the gay part, and knowing that I'm gay, and having a family that loved me and took care of me. I mean, my mom is the most important person in my life, and there was I never felt like she would not love me, but I think for me it was like, oh no, she would have to deal with that. She would have to carry this secret, because I know that many in my family would not accept it. So yeah, that was hard as well, and that's why I didn't come out until the army. And in the army, my commander was really a cool guy that one day just like asked me, said, "You gay, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And that was the first time I said that I'm gay to anyone. Since then, it was just like a snowball. I didn't come out immediately to everyone, but step by step over the years, I came out to my family, my dad, my mother. My dad was the one I was fearful of the most, because he's a Tunisian, hot-blooded man that, I thought he would never accept me. And he did. It was hard for him in the beginning. And I remember like maybe 8 or 9 years ago, my mom told me, I'll never forget, that she said, your dad is really sad today. And that was like a couple of years after I came out to him. And I said, well, why is he sad? And she said, he went to work and someone used gay as a slur to another person, and it really hurt him because he cares about you. So that was very sweet.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
How's your relationship with your parents?
Great. Really good. Yeah. I'm speaking to my mom every day, maybe twice a day sometimes.
Such a Jewish boy, aren't you? Jewish boys and their mummies.
Fully that, yeah. Yeah. Mark, my partner, is like saying, you don't need to speak to your mom that much. But he starts speaking to her as well. She started calling him, so now he gets it too. Gotta
have that connection. I've even with like I've got 2 boys, and they're just so cuddly, and I'm just like, is this just a Jewish boys just like this? Like, it's just Jewish boys and their mums.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
Yeah, fully.
Where did you meet Mark?
I met Mark in London. I was here for a talk at either UCL or KCL. It was protested. Back then, I was protested all the time. Every time I came to London, they were like hundreds of students. They had to call the Met Police to like rescue me and students from UCL, because people were breaking through the windows and trying to get me. The title of the talk was like "Peace for Israelis and Palestinians," a queer Israelis that cares about peace and coexistence that triggered them so much. Yeah, so and then one of those one of the times that I came to give this talk, and everything was so traumatic, and then later on we met in a bar in Soho, and I fell in love, and I came back a few days later. I had to go back to Israel for a meeting, like a really important meeting at my work. Back then I had a social media company, so I had to go back, had the meeting, and then flew back 2 days later to see Mark again, and yeah, and then I think I made like a sign, like "Be my boyfriend." Second, it's really cute.
Oh, so how long ago was that?
That was 8 years ago.
Wow, and you're getting married.
I'm getting married. Yeah.
Yay, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
When's the big day?
So September 20th.
Okay.
My birthday is September 21st.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're doing so I won't forget the wedding anniversary ever. It's more for me.
Yeah. Won't have an excuse.
And we're doing it in Santorini in Greece because it's exactly between Israel and London. And we had to, we just found a place that is exactly the middle, and it happened to be Santorini. So,
what a shame.
I know,
Santorini.
right? Exactly.
Wow. I'm trying to think. That's not where it's all white, is it? Like all the.
Yeah, it is.
That
like
is.
white
Okay.
and blue, and there's like the dome.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Wow. The wedding pictures are going to be great.
They're going to be, I hope.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah,
and I didn't realise that you're actually living in London, but you're between the two.
Yeah, I'm between London and Tel Aviv. I mean, I'm renting here, and I have a place in Tel Aviv, so I feel like it's more like Tel Aviv is my home. But because Mark is from London and he works here, and now it makes sense for us to spend most of our time here. But we're planning to move back to Israel at some point.
Nice. Okay, I feel like we all might end up moving there
I know,
soon.
right?
But talking of Israel, we have actually got some Israeli food. We can't have a Jewish podcast without feeding our guests. Like, what kind of Jewish woman would I be? So we've got Balagan, who are a kosher restaurant in Broadwood. Have you ever been?
No.
Good. Well, you can try some of their food. We've got some Israeli salad. We've got some hummus, some shawarma, some falafel, which
which works with the name of this podcast.
This is exactly why we can't have a podcast called the falafel without falafel. So I'm gonna get. Here we go. Here, have yourself. We've got shawarma. We've got with hummus. We've got falafels. Israeli salad. Help yourself. And then I'm just gonna sit back while you're doing that. In fact, I'm gonna grab a falafel. Do you get much Israeli food when you're in England?
No.
No. So here we go.
Sometime, but not as much because I'm so used to this food. Like, it's the food from home, so it's nice to have it every once in a while. But I like to try new things. So but I do love to go to Israeli restaurants, especially after October 7th, because I feel more safe. These days, whenever I go to a restaurant in London, I always Google the name of the restaurant plus Gaza, just to see if they did anything. It's not that it's bad. Like, of course, if they support something legitimate, I don't have an issue. But often those, restaurants are doing like anti-Israel events there, and I just don't want to support it. And I think it's our prerogative as Jews to decide where we want to spend our money. Yeah,
I'm with you. What was food like growing up? Because and I really want to talk about your heritage because it's so interesting. You've had a mum that's from Iraq, a dad that was from a tribe in an Atlas mountain.
Yeah.
Like, must be very cultured. And what did you eat? And what was life like? Tell me everything.
Oh, yeah, a lot of cultures. My mom is from Baghdad, from Iraq. My grandma always insisted that they're not Iraqi Jews, they're Babylonian Jews, because that's the ancient name of Iraq was Babylon. So for them, it's very important that they're, the Jews of Babylon. And my dad is from Tunisia, and he's a part of the Amazigh tribe. The Amazigh people are North African tribal people that are the first inhabitants of North Africa, the indigenous people of North Africa. And there's incredible stories of how part of the tribe that is Jewish, that most of them today live in Israel, most of the Amazigh Jews, the stories is that they are the descendants of a queen of this tribe that actually fought against the Islamic expansion to North Africa, and the Muslim scholars used to call her the witch, the Jewish witch. Her name was El Kahina, or the Cohen. And the folklore is that her descendants, she died in battle. Well, she didn't die. She was told to convert to Islam and she refused to, and she jumped into a whale and she died.
She jumped into a whale.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I thought I just wanted to check that I'd heard
yes,
that properly.
that's,
Okay.
that's what she jumped into a whale.
Every day you just jump into a whale. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's how important her Jewish identity was, I guess. And she was the queen of this tribe because the other part of this folklore is that she came to North Africa with Queen Sheba after her visit to King Solomon in Israel. So that's how she ended up in this area and became the queen of this tribe. And the Muslim stories, the stories on the Islamic text is referring to her as being a witch that was able to foresee the future, because that's the only reason that a Jewish woman was able to be the longest standing army against the Islamic expansion to North Africa. All that to say, so my dad is a Mazig Jew. That's where my last name is from, Mazig. And today, most of them are in Israel. So anyone with last name like Amzaleg or Amazig or Mazig are part of this tribe. And they were actually the people that invented shakshuka. The
cool.
Amazigh people in North Africa, yeah. And they brought it with them to Israel. So I grew up, shakshuka is like my dad's favorite dish to make.
Wow.
We had a lot of Iraqi food as well. Did you have Iraqi food ever?
Not really. I'm trying to find someone who will take me under their wing or like invite me around for dinner. So if anyone is watching, please invite me. But not exclusively.
Yeah, you're invited whenever you want to come for
Okay.
when I cook, or when my mom comes here, then I'll invite you for it, because
That would be amazing.
she makes the most amazing kube. Have you had kube probably?
Like the meat
That
parcels.
it's like a bowl of dough filled with meat in it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay, I'm coming, please.
Yeah.
Like you've actually caught this on. Like I've got
got it on
witnesses to
camera,
this. Yeah. Thank you. That would be amazing.
I forgot we're filming it.
I have
I guess we'll have
witnesses.
to know.
I'll just be waiting somewhere in Acton.
What did you grow up eating?
Smoked salmon, bagels. It was very like Ashkenazi. Friday night dinners with roast chicken. It was like herring, chopped herring. I'm trying to think what else. But now, as I've got older, like my mum's a great cook, but she's also brought in like Moroccan can't get my words out today, cookbooks, Moroccan cookbooks, and she started cooking and I loved it. And so I love exploring different cuisines. Like I look at Rahama online and Sivan's Kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
Amazing.
Like the food, there has not been a single thing I've made that hasn't tasted unbelievable. It's so good. And the flavors, although I have to ask you, is it really expensive to cook like this? Because I've gone through about 20 bags of coriander and pomegranate syrup.
Yeah.
Just like it's loads.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you cook, right? It shouldn't be like
Okay.
usually Middle Eastern food is much cheaper than, because it's like, I mean, specifically like Yemenite food. Yemenite food is so flavorful and so delicious, but usually you have things like a bone soup or things that are not really the expensive part of it, because there was a lot of poverty in Yemen, so they had to find out, or like dough. So you have like jachnun, which is this dough that they put in a pot overnight and with a lot of butter, and it's just delicious. But it's simple recipes that have been maintained. And the most interesting part is that I keep being told that we are stealing those recipes and that it's not ours. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I made a video about falafel and being a Jewish nutritionist, and I was told that I steal land and steal food.
Yeah.
So that was fun. It's insane.
First of all, food is all about bringing people together. It's not about dividing us. It's about all of us sitting around the table and trying food. And the only place in the world today where Middle Eastern Jewish food is being maintained and still cooked is in Israel. Like, and I'm talking about things that are like sabich is an Israeli invention. It's this pita with fried eggplant and hard-boiled eggs and hummus and the best. But this was invented in Israel, and that's the only place that it's been maintained today. And it's, and it has hummus, of course, that was brought from the Middle East, but it also have amba. Amba is this spread that was invented by Iraqi Jews because there was trading between India and Iraq, and they were bringing mangoes in cans from India. But the only way to maintain them for this long journey was to add some spices to it, and chutney, curry type of spices that turned it into an amba over the way. And then when it got to Iraq, it was this mangoes in a can that turned into a spread. And you put this in the sabich. So like Israeli cuisine is a story of immigrants and of movement from one place to another, and bringing all of this goodness together into a pita. And it's the only place where Middle Eastern Jews can still celebrate their heritage. And instead of us being able to enjoy it, and we all enjoy it, if you're Ashkenazi or Mizrahi, it's Israeli cuisine. We all bring in our food into the table. And instead of being able to celebrate it, we keep being told that we need to be ashamed of it or that we stole it. It's ridiculous.
Why can't we just share food? Everyone knows that if you want to get along, you share food.
Totally.
I remember once, this is going to sound awful, but I've started now, so I'm going to have to continue. I remember working in an office, and there was this woman that we didn't really get along. And then once she just brought in this food, and I was like, I just looked at her completely differently. I just thought, oh, you've spoken to my soul. Food unites us.
Yeah, fully.
So
and it's like it's telling stories, and it's telling like stories of resilience and of family and of unity. And it's just like, that's why we can't have nice things. There's people, they want to ruin everything.
No, we've got to be positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got this book by Claudia Roden. I feel like every Jew in this country must have it. But it's got all the history, and it's got the Sephardi Jews, and it's got the Ashkenazi. We need a chapter on Mizrahi now, because now I'm learning a lot about it. But there's just all the stories behind it, and I love reading. There's so much text as well about I think she was talking about being Egyptian, and her grandmas used to cook it in the kitchen, and the flavors and the spices, and it's so rich and it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it. It gets me really excited.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's like, stories and identity is not like, it's not like a pool that only few people can swim in it. It's like there's room for everyone. Everyone can share their stories and add it into this mix. I think it's the same with Jewish identity. Like when sometimes people would push back against me saying, like, speaking about Mizrahi Jews, they're like, oh, we're all Jews, we're all the same. Yes, we're all Jews and the same, but we all have different stories of where we come from. And I think, it's important to say, like, Mizrahi Jews are Jews from the Middle East and North Africa, but it doesn't mean that we have a stronger connection to Israel than Ashkenazi Jews. We all came from the land of Israel. We all lived in diaspora. Mizrahi Jews are just the Jews that have never left this specific region, but we were exiled from Israel. We didn't live in Israel until we had a country again. So to me, it's important to highlight those stories and share them and add more and more stories.
Well, you've written a book.
I have.
It's right behind you on our lovely shelf.
Yes.
The Mizrahi Manifesto.
Mizrahi Manifesto.
When did this come out?
2019, I think. Wait, did it come in 2019? Yes, 2019.
Yeah. So I don't know why I asked that question when it came out, but it's all about your experience.
Yeah, it's part manifesto, part memoir, and I'm writing about the challenges for me and for as a Mizrahi kid growing up in Israel. I shared some of it, and then I'm also speaking about the power of this story in today's modern conversation. I live in the progressive left. I'm part of it. I know what sort of conversation is being held, regardless of Jews in Israel. I know what sort of understanding people come into the table with. So that's why I think that sharing Mizrahi stories and stories of Jews from the Middle East and North Africa will help reshaping the understanding, specifically on the left, of what Jews are. So that's what I'm trying to share in this book.
Good. We need to know. We need to have an understanding of all the different cultures and all the different pieces that make us Jews, or that we're part of our culture, wider collective.
Absolutely.
It's important. But now you're on doing the most amazing things, and you're such an activist. And I was glued to your Instagram when the hostages returned. I was in tears. I was refreshing your feed all the time. That was when I really started just finding you and just wanting to know more. And every day I'm like, what's news? What's happening today?
Yeah.
How are you finding the strength to do that and to just have this whole weight of the world, it feels like, on your shoulders, but just be so, like, I really am losing the words today. What's the word? That just constant, continuous,
yeah,
something that drives you forward.
Yeah, resilient.
Yeah.
I hope.
Is that the
that
word?
is
I'm
the
sure there's a
legitimate-
word beginning with a C.
Relentless.
We'll go. All of these sound
Or,
fantastic.
yes.
Just pick. We'll
I
go with
keep
all
going.
of those.
I keep going.
That's the word. They're the words.
It's very hard. Like there are days that I wake up and I don't want to post anything, and I don't feel like I want to do anything, and I still have to post the news if there's. And I feel like it's also a matter of, for many people, that's what a lot of Jews tell me these days, is that they dropped mainstream media and they just follow me for the news because they can't trust anything that the media said. And I realized that in the beginning of the war on October 7th, when I opened my laptop and I started communicating all the information I got from Israeli media and from Arabic media, and the mainstream media didn't. Like, they didn't post the thing. Like, it took them a day to, or a few hours at least, to get the news out. And I just felt like I could do it so much quicker and get information out to people on social media. And in the last 2 years, I've just been doing it, and it's like, it's daily work, and it's really exhausting. And I used to, sometimes I get people barge into me in the street or pushing me, and I never know if it's because of that, but I guess it's because either my Star of David out or my face or whatever, and that's fine. Or
I think you just said it's either the Star of David or my face.
Yeah, like either they recognize me, or the Star of David.
One or the other, my face,
My
or
face
a
or
star.
that. And that, I mean, it's fine. I complain to the police. The police is not doing anything. Or they say something rude to me, or saying like, "Oh, you're the anti-Palestinian guy," or the horrible things. All of this used to really get to me. Like the first year after the war, I was really upset. I would like chase some guy to like punch him back or something. I didn't, but I was like fully going to. But my partner Mark saw it, and he started getting upset as well. And he said, "Listen, Chen, like you need to stop focusing on these people, because I see them a lot, but." He said, like, they are 10% of the experiences you have. I have Jewish women in the gym coming up to me and saying, "I love what you do. You mean the world to me." I have like Jewish kids that came up to me with their mother, and like both of those girls, Jewish girls, that were really shy, and their mom was like standing behind them and just said, "I just want to say thank you for what you're doing," and it was so sweet. And people wanted to take pictures with me, and I was in a vacation. And in this hotel on the beach, I can't remember what it was, somewhere in Greece, I think, or somewhere. And this woman came up to me in tears. She said, "I'm sorry that I'm coming to you, but like you don't understand what you mean to me. I felt so alone. Just having you meant the world to me." So Mark is the is the reason that I'm focusing on that now. And he said that's what should move, make you keep going, not the hate. And I started focusing on that. So. Yeah, every time someone comes and says something nice to me, if it's in the tube, I train in Barry's. I do the Barry's boot camp.
Yeah. I hear that's intense.
There's a lot of Jews there.
Yeah? Which one?
I found out.
Maybe don't tell, or they're all going to go. You can say if you want to.
Like Jewish trainers or Jewish clients? Oh, I meant
I was going to say to you, which Barry's boot camp do you go to? I thought actually if you say it, everyone's going to turn up.
Yeah.
Just at Barry's.
Yeah, at Barry's.
Okay.
I go to different ones whenever my schedule allows it, or I have a meeting after somewhere. Yeah. So.
I used to go in for the smoothies. I never went in for the exercise.
Shut up. No, really?
I'm not doing HIIT training. Forget it.
Just going to enjoy the smoothie after. It's amazing. I love that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Should do that.
You should do that.
It's so exhausting, though.
I hear that's why I don't do that.
No, you really need to do it once.
Okay, maybe. Maybe I'll come with you.
Yeah, I have a guest pass.
And then when your mum's over, I'll just come back to your house for kibbeh.
Or maybe we'll go to Barry's, and then we can go to have like lunch with my mom, because then we burn the calories and we'll gain them back.
Exactly. We can't do it the other way around because I'll be sick.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so exhausting.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. All right, there you go. Done. And I feel like just quickly before I let you go, the Tel Aviv Institute, it's still running, still going?
Yes, Tel Aviv Institute. It's I started it about 7 years ago. Together with Dr. Ron Katz, is an expert on rhetoric and propaganda from UC Berkeley, really the perfect background to doing the work we're doing. And we started analyzing hate speech online, and then we decided we need to shift to working with influencers to help equip influencers that are not like me, that all of the content is Israel and Jews, but are doing other sort of content. If it's a vegan chef like Ben Chuk, which we love, or if it's actors, or if it's artists, Zoe Buckman, giving them the tools to be able to express what they believe. We don't tell them what to say, we just give them the support to do it. So we started it since then, and it's been incredible. And I think the last 2 years just proved to me how necessary it is to be part of the conversation on social media. I mean, I guess like that's not only with Tel Aviv Institute, with everything I do. I think I'm always left with two choices, and the one choice is you're either going to walk away and, you know, because they're not going to give you a seat at the table, and you're going to have to really go through a horrible time, or you force your way in and you sit down and you're saying, I'm here and and you don't need to give me a seat at the table because I'm going to take it. And I truly believe that if we're not going to insist on having a seat on the table, we're going to end up in the menu. And I think for the Jewish community, it's important that we don't give up on the spaces that we helped building, that we've been part of. And I'm sure better days would come. I feel like they have to come when the hostages are back, that when our people are not afraid for our safety anymore, and that there will be peace for Israelis, Palestinians, for everyone in the Middle East and the entire world.
Beautiful. And what a great place to end. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Where can everyone find you?
I'm not on social media. No, I'm kidding.
Do you know what? My brain just now was like, what?
No, I am on social media. Someone told me the other day, so this girl was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I loved your work, but I left Instagram a year ago. I was like, oh, must be nice. I have to do it. No, but
no, please don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone that's listening to this knows exactly where to find you, but just in case they don't.
Yeah, like Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Oh, I have a YouTube show, by the way.
Yes, I wanted to talk about. See, I told you I should look at my notes, and they're Jewish.
Yeah, it's called this way because, like, you know how when you sit around a table at Friday dinner and someone in the family is like, "Oh, have you heard like Pink has a new album?" and someone else will be like, "Oh, they're Jewish. She's Jewish," you know, and you like, and then there will be a whole conversation about how this person is so amazing and they're Jewish.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the show. The show is now available on our YouTube. Either Hen Mazig or And They're Jewish on YouTube. And every episode I go to meet a different celebrity or creative or artist, and together I explore what they do, the work they're doing. We're doing it together. Went to cook with Chef Gail Simmons from Top Chef America, and learning about them, their story. With Mayam Bialik, we've did like science experiments and spoke about the Big Bang and Blossom. So being Jewish is part of it, but it's not the main thing. I really wanted to, I think after this war and after all this pain, we will have to remind ourselves and the world why they fell in love with Jewish people and why we are such an important part of Western societies, because it seems like they've forgotten. So that's what And They're Jewish is trying to do, is to be uplifting, joyful series.
I love that. I did start watching it with, I want to call her Sloane, because she Emmanuel, but she took up a lot of my life as Sloane.
Me too.
Oh, Entourage was the best.
I know, it was the best. I was obsessed with Sloane. I mean, I thought I had a crush on her. Clearly, years later, I found out I didn't.
I do. Like, I would leave my marriage for her.
Right.
No, I'm joking.
She's amazing. Yeah.
She is. She's amazing. But what a series. Yeah. But I did start watching, and you've got Deborah Messing on as well.
Yes.
Got a great show.
Amazing.
I was really upset because I thought, we can't get this being in England, and then I found it on YouTube and started watching it. It's great.
You can. And I'm thinking about a British Jewish guest for season 2 that I can't confirm if it's happening or not. But yeah, I'm thinking of some British celebrities. If you have ideas, if your viewers have ideas.
Yes, yeah, we can help, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk afterwards. And yes, write in if you have any ideas. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing, because we need it.
I had the best time. So much better than Piers Morgan. Thank you.
Well, yeah, what's he like?
It's Piers Morgan.
Okay.
I think everyone knows what he's like.
Okay. All right.
It's exactly what you think he's like.
Can I have that, better than Piers Morgan?
I think that should be on your bio.
Perfect. Yeah. I might even change the podcast name.
Love that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.